This is Kate Baconsale. You're listening to Baconsale.
A giggling goofball, a cinema snob, and a scissor-wielding psycho somersault into a bananas diaper-safe pop culture hullabaloo to blabber about kooky-talky pictures, boingo-boingo beats, television tomfoolery, chomp-a-lad snacks, button-mashing craziness, and a gazillion bonkerific thingamajigs. Today on Porky Purchase.
What the heck was that?
Get up, Porky Purchase.
No. What is happening? I think Ken just had a stroke.
You guys okay? I'm fine.
That made no sense.
Sure it did.
Listen closely. It's in the rewatch. That's
A giggling goofball,
Yeah.
a cinema snob, and a scissor-wielding psycho.
that's me.
Do a diaper-safe
Oh.
pop
Gonna
culture
dissect it.
hullabaloo podcast.
Oh,
What
God.
did you call it?
There's a lot of words in
Porky
there.
Purchase,
Wow.
Porky Purchase, Bacon Sale.
Yes.
Porky Purchase.
Speaking of which, welcome to Baconsale. I'm Joel.
I'm Kent.
And I'm Zack.
We'd like to thank you for listening to our last episode, our annoying TV neighbors episode, where we chose what neighborhood Zack chose what neighborhood he was going to live in.
Yeah, and I feel like I made the right choice.
No.
Barely.
Barely. Yes. Well,
I think it was Joel's name that really shot it down.
The Sunshine Sick Commune.
Kendall J said the Brady Bunch has you fooled. You expect something like Marcia breaking her nose, petty sibling jealousy is rampant, and all of this is resolved in an hour without any consequence spilling into the next episodes. These people are children of the corn. There is evil there.
Jeez.
You got issues.
Wow.
Bunch you're watching, but cool. KP Brown says, I am very happy to have suggested the neighbor that was not picked by anybody, so I guess
The gang.
you win.
Yeah.
And Kent Dunn, while Sweet D is blonde, as soon as you show any interest, she is moving on. This will leave you on the cricket path for sure.
Okay.
Let's see. Nicole D. Hale said, I'm sorry, but Rory can't be the most annoying or worst character
Rory Gilmore.
ever when Caillou exists.
Save it for another show that we could use Caillou in.
No.
Worst children to have? Maybe.
I'm looking at you, Bluey.
Oh, boy. Also, on a happy note, we got a new patron.
Hey!
That's right. The new patron.
What's their name, Joel?
Walton Goggins' teeth. Walton Goggins, the famous actor.
Yeah, he's in Justified.
Yeah.
Yeah, his teeth.
You know, he
I tell you what.
plays a bad guy and
He's
everything.
got forehead and teeth.
Righteous Gemstones?
Yeah, he's in that too.
But Walter Goggins' teeth, that sounds weird to say, is a tier 2 patron.
Nice.
Which means they get access to our Bacon Bits, which we do pretty much every week, kind of, but not guaranteed every
What
week.
tier? I didn't hear.
What?
What tier?
Tier 2.
No,
Nice.
it's tier 2, yes. So they get the video ones as well, and they get other video content as along with a bunch of other stuff. So thank you, Walton Goggins' teeth, for being a patron of Baconsale. We appreciate you. But that's not what we're talking about today. What are we talking about today, Zach?
We're talking about, well,
Listen.
I don't know what we're talking about based on the intro.
It was AI might have written that, and
That's fine.
I said go wacky twice, and it was a parody of our regular Apple iTunes description.
because we're talking about parody movies today.
Uh-huh.
Yes, we are. Now, if you don't know what a parody movie is, a parody movie, or spoof film, as they call it, is a subgenre of comedy that lampoons other film genres. And it's imitating the style and art of many different other films assembled together, like a pastiche as well.
Yeah.
It's often overlooked by critics. Critics don't really care about parody films, but they are commonly profitable at the box office because people like to laugh. The Academy, people like to laugh.
Well, listen, no one's talking about the Oscars anymore.
Talking to the Academy right now. Parody is related to satire, but it's different. Do you guys know the difference between parody and satire?
Nope.
Satire is trying to make a commentary. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, think of it this way. Parody is more positive, satire is more negative, meaning that parody is a representation of appreciation. Like they
Okay.
appreciate it, so they're going to parody it, whereas satire is pointing out the flaws of something.
Is spoof somewhere in the middle? Or is it more on the parody side?
Spoof is kind of a synonym for parody.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of this making fun of thing.
Or is spoof the attractive girl from Teen Wolf?
That's Boof.
Oh.
That's not the bully from Back to the Future. That's Biff. Clarifying once again. And never mind, I was going to go.
Yeah,
I'll
I know.
stop
You
there.
could have kept it going.
But the first film parody ever made was actually The Little Train Robbery in 1905.
Parodying the Great Train Robbery?
Yep.
Okay.
The Great Train Robbery came out in 1903. 1905, they made The Little Train Robbery, which was, they used an all-child cast for the Western spoof. So,
Okay. Respect.
there you go. You have influential parody creators such as the Marx Brothers back in the early years, like 0 to 40s. And then you have W.C. Fields, Mae West, Laurel and Hardy, Bob Hope. These are all kind of like the parody actors and creators who did those kind of things.
Were the Abbott and Costello movies considered parodies of the time when they met the monsters?
Well, I mean, Universal makes these monsters and they're very scary, and they put them in an Abbott Costello movie. It's like, oh, they're funny now.
Okay.
It's a great
I mean, they're
introduction
not
to horror.
funny, but I get it.
Yeah. And then the 70s and 80s have been called the golden age of parody movies.
Wow, it's like a little hot take you just.
Yeah, I know.
What'd you say?
I don't like it.
You
The Abbott and Costello movies not very good.
funny.
They are funny. But 70s, 80s have been called the golden age of parody films. That's when you get Mel Brooks and the Zaz trio, which is David Zucker, Jim Abrams, and Jerry Zucker.
Okay.
Abrahams. But that's like, those are the big time parodies. A lot of what we're going to talk about today is kind of in that era too. But we had so many parodies. We created a list of about 100 ones that we were like, yeah, who's seen these? And then we kind of marked down which ones we've seen so we could figure out how many shows we could do. And we landed on 24 for this episode.
And we could do half a season of Baconsale with all the options out there. Holy cow.
But then we'd have to watch a lot of bad parodies.
I think this episode's going to give the wrong impression of parodies because I look at parodies as weaker films generally. But there's so many.
You think of comedies as weaker films in general. You are the Academy of
listen.
Baconsale.
I grew up with all these movies. Most of these movies we're going to talk about today are tier 1. But that makes every parody seem like it's good. But I would say what parodies became in the 2000s with Epic Movie and
anything into the movie in the end.
Meet the Spartans and that sort of thing, date movie. It just, the genre got ruined almost completely.
There definitely became kind of a stigma that came with if it ended in movie, it was like, oh, it's going to be one of those.
Yeah.
So I understand what you're saying, but also I believe that there's less tier 1s than I anticipated. In fact, when I first made this list, I was like, sure, tier 1s. And then I was like, okay, because we're going to split this up into 8 tier 1s being the highest, 8 tier 2s being the middle, and 8 tier 3s being the lowest. And I went through and I did my initial run. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to throw my tiers out there and then I'll reorganize as needed because I have to put it in these certain silos. I did it. I hit exactly 8 tier 1s, 8 tier 2s, and 8 tier 3s.
So do you not like parodies very much? If you have that many tier 3s?
I like good parodies. And that's why Kent had to say, hey, throw another bad one in there. He did.
Yeah. I had like 10 or 11 tier 1s on my first pass, and I hate parodies.
Yeah,
But
I'm in the same boat, but these are
want any of
all,
them.
I hate to say it, nostalgic choices that I haven't revisited.
That's the problem. I've revisited many of these, and they don't hold up as well as I remember.
I'm curious
Things
now.
are funny when you're 12.
Period.
That's all.
Don't go back.
Yeah. Laugh at it. Enjoy it when you're 12.
It is really funny, though,
Keep it in your memories in your heart.
because some of these are referencing one product. Some of these are referencing 37 different movies.
And that's an issue with parodies.
But I feel like the filler they throw in, with the exception of some directors, is crass jokes.
Yes.
And when you were when you and I were, and Zack was 2, we were 12. When we were 12 and everything was funny, like those crass jokes are what I sought out.
Yeah.
But now I can't stomach it at all.
Well, and that's the thing about parodies is if you do it right, you have a good story and you have more timeless references.
Yeah.
Meaning like you're doing an homage to this other movie, but you're not like calling out a direct reference.
Yeah.
But then when you have a movie and it's like, okay, we're going to have, I don't know, Kim
Matrix.
Kim Kardashian walk out for a second and it's like, that's the joke. It's like, that's not going to hold up here in 10 years. No
Or Paris Hilton saying that's hot.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So like that's the problem with a lot of these parodies is that they were in the time funny, but then you look back, you're like, that has not aged well for a number of reasons.
Okay.
So shall we jump into it?
Let's do it.
All right.
We are going alphabetical order through our list, right? Or do
Yes,
we want
we
to
are.
go chronological?
Alphabetical. Great.
Alphabetical. Our first movie is Airplane.
Because there's an exclamation point. We're going to get that a lot.
After the crew becomes sick with food poisoning, a neurotic ex-fighter pilot must safely land a commercial airplane full of passengers.
Yes, and this came out in 1980, and it stars Robert Hayes, Julia Haggerty, Leslie Nielsen, Robert Stack, Lloyd Bridges,
So many people.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah. So this parodies a movie called 0 Hour, Airport 19... I guess 0 Hour is like the whole story,
That's
right? The structure.
main
Hey, it's a
Structure of it.
1957 drama called 0 Hour with an exclamation point. So
Yes.
0 Hour!
Sorry for your headphone users.
But it also is like almost an exact remake.
And then it's also Airport 1975 and just generally 70s disaster movies. And so, what are our thoughts on Airplane?
Well, and they also, the thing about the Zucker brothers, and well, Zaz, because you get Jamie Abrahams in there as well.
He killed Batman's parent? No, that was George Hill. Zaz, he just marks his body.
He marks his body. He's got a
different
spot saved
this
for
is just
Batman.
Z-A-Z. No, there's no S in there. The thing about it is they decided to, the trick to this movie, and this is something I completely agree with, is they cast serious dramatic actors like Robert Stack, Leslie Nielsen, Peter Graves, Lloyd Bridges. They were known for dramatic roles. And they said, play it straight. The comedy will come from you saying this line, but you don't act funny.
Yeah.
and it works.
But then the actress in it got associated with comedy.
Yeah.
Because it was so
Nielsen.
iconic.
Leslie Nielsen was actually a dramatic actor before this. If you go back and watch, I can't remember the name of it. This Planet Earth, I think it is. No, it's not that. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But he played all these serious roles, and they got him in here, and he does this amazing deadpan comedy, and that became his shtick for the rest of his career.
Yeah.
Was playing these funny straight guys. So
I would say the male and female lead aren't ever funny, and they're playing it very seriously. They're almost like the worst parts of this entire movie, but that's okay.
I enjoy it.
I think this is the best of the best parodies out there. It's almost the comedy of comedies. There's a joke a second in this, and not really, but I think there's like one laugh per minute. I think it's the highest laugh per minute ratio.
There are so many jokes.
It's also wildly off color. So 12-year-old me loved that.
Yeah.
And adult me still appreciates it. It's tier 1.
I agree. This is a tier 1. We talked about it in Comedy of Comedies, but man, it still holds up. It still makes me laugh. So many laughs from Airplane. Definitely some inappropriateness as well.
Yeah.
That's part
of the time. Should we say that?
Of the time.
Yes.
Yes.
Am I allowed to give it anything but a tier 1?
You're allowed, but you'd be
Baconsale, Zack.
wrong.
I have to give this a tier 1.
Okay, good.
It's a legend. I couldn't say anything more. This is great. All right, our next one is Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery.
A world-class playboy and a part-time secret agent from the 1960s emerges after 30 years in a cryogenic state to battle with his nemesis, Dr. Evil.
This parody is obviously classic James Bond movies, and I think British stereotypes on the whole.
Yeah, well, because there was a movie called In Like Flint,
Yes.
which came out in the 60s.
In and of itself is a James Bond parody.
Exactly. And it is. And so they saw that, and it's kind of weird how they made a parody of a parody in that regard. But
And they reference In Like Flint in the Austin Powers franchise.
They do.
I can't remember if it's the first or second movie, but yeah.
I think it's the first one. It's like a noise it makes on the phone or something when they call him. I don't know.
Oh, he even says, In Like Flint, that's my favorite movie.
Yeah. And actually, I found out Mike Myers actually wanted Jim Carrey to play Dr. Evil and approached him, but he couldn't because of Liar Liar. So then he's like, okay, fine, I'll play him myself.
That would have been great.
Would have been, though?
It's good as is.
It is good as it.
Yeah.
And you will find my score in a moment. But go on, Joel.
We have talked about Austin Powers before
quite a
on our
bit.
trilogy episode. Kent, at one time, this was your favorite movie
It
of
was
all
my
time.
favorite movie when I was 15. This was my favorite movie up until I was 18 and watched real movies.
Yeah.
So I can't dislike a movie that was once my favorite film. It's easily tier 1 because, look, is it so crass? Is it too crass? Yes. But also, having now watched all the Bond movies after enjoying Austin Powers, I appreciate it even more. Tier 1 for me.
At one point in my life, this was my favorite movie.
What?
Until
What is
It's
going
my little
on
buddy
here?
over here.
until I saw The Spy Who Shagged Me, and then that became my favorite movie.
No.
Until I saw Goldmember, and then that became my favorite movie.
No, Goldmember did not become your
I
favorite.
loved it.
That became your favorite movie?
I was 12.
Oh, good point.
It explains a lot.
When things are funny when you're 12.
I was 9. I was 7, 9, and 12 when these movies came out.
You
Why
should
was
not
I watching this?
have
at
been
7?
watching that
Not
first
at
one.
all.
Yeah.
Not at all. But I sure was.
Yeah.
Yeah. These are an easy tier 1 for me, and I have revisited them somewhat.
Now, this is
recently,
a question,
and they're
Joel.
good.
It's like, is it your brand of comedy? No, but is it a good parody of Bond girls, Bond villains, Bond villain motivations? Like, is it a good parody for parody's sake?
It's actually, I don't even know if it's parody. I think it's more satire, to be honest.
Okay.
Because they're pointing out the flaws of James Bond rather than
Like the
saying-
sexism and
But
all
there
that
is
kind of stuff.
Yeah, and there's some love there.
SEXism.
There's some love there as well.
As an avid fan of You Only Live Twice, which has the most Austin Powers vibe
good.
of any of the Bond movies.
Yeah.
Specifically, the hollowed out volcano layer, which you find in the second Austin Powers movie,
Yeah.
is literally from You Only Live Twice.
Yeah.
It's a very, I think it's a great parody of James Bond.
It's clever. It's very clever, but it also is. Watching it again, every clever joke is undercut by lowbrow humor, and they keep going for that easy, immature joke constantly. It makes it a very juvenile vibe. Guys, I gave this a tier 2.
I knew it.
Fine.
It was at 3 at one point.
Okay.
Did the Spy Who Shagged Me? With that, we'll talk about that later.
They get worse.
It wasn't his favorite movie.
No. But there are things to like about it. I think I ended up giving it like a 3 stars because I was like, you know what? There's parts of this that are iconic and that.
Aren't you so glad it exists, though, that Mike Myers was able to make this movie? I am. It was formative.
It's a very specific brand of humor, Mike Myers, as well.
Yes, it is. And there are parts in it that I will laugh at every single time.
That's good.
The little cart moving and then getting stuck.
That's
Oh, man.
iconic.
I love that part.
Yeah.
And also just
The faraway death. Yeah, I mean, everything.
or when,
The slow underneath death.
even when
Yeah.
he's getting woken up and like
He
they're
has
putting
to-
through the machine and everything, and like blow drying the chest hair and all that.
This sounds like a tier 1 for you, Joel.
There are funny moments. I just named them all.
Where he has to use the restroom
And
for
then-
a very, very long time, right?
Yes.
That the moment that undercuts that probably
Yeah.
for you.
That actually was a little more funny than I don't think it's as lowbrow.
Okay.
'Cause there was
Okay.
a joke to it. It's not just a
Okay.
bathroom joke for bathroom joke's
Yes,
sake.
okay.
All right. Our next one is Best in Show.
A behind-the-scenes look into the highly competitive and cutthroat world of dog shows through the eyes of a group of ruthless dog owners. Ruthless Wainwright.
This is directed by Christopher Guest, which, if you don't know, is the six-fingered man from Princess Bride.
Mind blown.
Now, as far as like what it parodies or spoofs, I guess it would be just documentaries. Is that just Christopher Guest?
Yeah, well, I mean,
Call it a mockumentary.
it's a mockumentary, which is a genre of parody. It's like, hey, there's this story we're telling, but it's all made up and fake. And the thing I found out, well, a couple of things I found out very interesting about this movie, because these movies, the Christopher Guest mockumentaries, they're mostly improvised. Like they say, here's
There's
the
a
scene.
structure to it.
Yeah, they say,
Yeah.
this is the scene. We want to go from point A to point B, and they film them for like 10 minutes and let them do whatever they want. They have like over 60 hours of footage on a lot of these. But the thing I found most interesting about this, because first of all, the dogs were like actual like the championship dogs.
they were
using
okay.
in there. But Best in Show was the inspiration for the broadcast of the National Dog Show after the Thanksgiving Day Parade.
Stop it.
That started.
Wait. Chicken before the egg before the chicken?
This movie came out in 2000. They started doing that in 2002 on NBC.
I
Because
love that because I am an avid Thanksgiving Day dog show watcher,
Yeah,
and,
and
then I chase it with Best in Show.
I thought it was Chicken and the Horse. Chicken and the Horse. Wow.
Pull my finger.
Horse before the cart. Chicken and the egg.
okay,
Yeah.
burning toast.
Wow.
So, yeah, mind blowing.
You know, really, because I thought, Westminster Dog Show has always been a thing, and I thought this is spoofing the Westminster Dog Show and dog owners in general, which
Yes.
it is.
Yeah.
Because it's like good home cooking America.
Obviously don't know my dog.
To the snobby type.
Obviously don't know my dog.
That's a fun fact. That's one of the funnest facts, Joel. This movie is hilarious. Wow, I'm giving all my tier 1s at the beginning. This is a slice of life movie of a slice of life I've never experienced, and it's just amazing. So yeah, tier 1. Joel, what about you?
It's a tier 1 for me. This is one where I know a lot of people won't find it funny. This kind of improvised comedy.
Is it dry?
It's a little dry, but it's like
Okay.
it's so much fun. And then you get, Fred Willard as the dog show announcer
Have to
steals the show.
Yeah.
I also think Parker Posey, and I can't remember his name, Michael Hitchcock.
Yes.
Them as the yuppie couple. I think they're absolutely hilarious.
Oh,
Like, there's-
Michael McKean.
Yeah.
He's hilarious in this.
Yes. Oh man, there's so many good performances between Michael
Eugene
Hitchcock.
Levy is so good in this
Jane
one, yeah.
Lynch.
Yes,
And,
yes.
what's
We both like soup.
what's her name? Oh,
Owen
Jennifer
Wilson.
Coolidge.
Yeah.
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 Owen Wilson in a suit.
Oh, that's what I said. Yes, yeah. So I think this movie is hilarious. I think more people should see it. But yeah, if you haven't seen Best in Show, you should. In my opinion, in Kent's opinion, let's see if it's Zack's
Oh,
opinion.
this is an easy tier 1.
Okay.
Maybe my tieriest one on this list. I love this
Wow.
movie. I watch it. This is the only one I regularly watch.
But where's Busy Bee?
Where's Busy Bee? I would love a terrier just because of this movie. I sometimes I think about dancing with 2 left feet and literally having 2 left feet.
I literally have 2 left
Yes,
feet.
Eugene Levy is so funny. Catherine O'Hara is amazing, and how quietly she's just like been with everybody along the way.
And he just has to
So-
be okay with it.
So funny.
Her walk when she gets her knee hurt and she has that little wobble.
that little wobble.
That's hilarious.
No, I think this is amazing, and I'll just throw it out there now. My favorite, far and away, of the Christopher Guest movies.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Not close. Love it. Yeah. My number 1, tier 1.
Okay.
Okay.
And now we have Blazing Saddles.
In order to ruin a western town, a corrupt politician appoints a black sheriff who promptly becomes the most formidable adversary.
And this parodies Westerns in general, but also near the end, the Hollywood system
Yes.
at large. Like big Hollywood productions, studio producers, directors, all that stuff.
It's so westerns, Hollywood, but also it's parodying racism.
Yeah.
In the weirdest way. Like there's a lot of N-words in this movie.
Yeah.
But it's done in a way that's like supposed to be like satirizing those that are actually using those words and like saying they're not great people, the people that do that.
But also like the whitewash Western tropes, right? That you've
Yes.
seen in a lot of Westerns. This movie
Yeah.
is like, oh yeah?
Yeah.
To the point where it did change the game, but is in your face in regards to a lot of its content.
Yeah, it is. Mel Brooks does that, where he intentionally goes, and this is the director, Mel Brooks. He intentionally goes over the top on a lot of these. His style of parody is much more in your face. I even feel than the Zucker brothers with Airplane and things like that.
Yeah,
it's a different style of comedy. I have to admit that I remember it being funnier.
So we watched this 2 years ago again
for the
show.
Comedies.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah, and it's weird because I remember it was like, oh, it's rated R. It's this, very, very raunchy. It's surprisingly tame aside from the racial slurs.
Sure.
I think that's the reason why it's rated R. But I was like, oh, there's not a lot had to be edited out of that. And that was kind of shocking to me. And Madeline Kahn, I absolutely adore Madeline Kahn.
Yeah.
I think it's hilarious. I think she's hilarious in almost everything. I'm giving this a tier 2.
Okay.
Which feels weird giving Blazing Saddles a tier 2 in a parody
it's such an
thing.
icon.
Yeah.
It is. But just it's fairly dated and it's not as funny as I remembered it being, but it's still a classic parody.
What about you, Zach?
I also give it a tier 2. I respect this movie. I think it is fun, but I think I mentioned this on the Comedy of Comedy show. I would like somebody to talk about what they like about this movie without saying, they wouldn't make this today.
Yeah.
That's all that
it.
anybody talks about. And I think it's almost lost its luster because of that. They're like, well, what? Talk about its merit.
Yeah.
Outside of what it's doing that's like maybe racially challenging, like, is it funny?
Cleve on Little X, I think, is really funny.
And there is funny stuff. And I'm not going to quote it like we quote a lot of these other movies.
Just quote the bean scene.
But I do find it funny, so I'm still going to give it a
campfire scene.
It's a bona fide classic. It's a pioneer for the genre, but I'm going to be the brave one to say that it's tier 3.
Wow.
Wow.
I'll be honest.
I think Mel Brooks.
I was considering
Mel
it.
Brooks should get his flowers, but I prefer almost any of his other movies. I
He
think
can buy himself flowers, Kent.
Yeah, I think his other movies are more watchable, and so with the Zack test, I'm not picking Blazing Saddles.
You think his movies are more watchable than Blazing Saddles?
Yeah, there's a few.
Okay.
For those of you who are new here, the Zack test is if you have 2 movies on a shelf, whatever one you pick gets the higher score. So
Makes sense.
I picture when you said that, for those not watching on video, like you were Margot Robbie in The Big Short in the
bubble bath?
In the bubble bath.
Yeah, I'll get in a bubble bath for you. Sure. Why not?
That's getting quoted on Twitter.
Yeah, it is.
Our next movie is Borat.
Kazakh TV talking head Borat is dispatched. Kazakh.
Yeah.
Is dispatched to the United States to report on the greatest country in the world.
This stars Sacha Baron Cohen as Borat, my wife.
And I looked up, like, what was this parodying, right? Documentaries, kind of travel-based documentaries.
Like a news show.
But also parodying hate based on ignorance, right? Because, I mean, like, he, as a person, is filled with hate. He's very anti-Semitic, but then he also interviews people who also might be ignorant.
So if you don't know, Sacha Baron Cohen gets dressed up as this character, Borat, that's from Kazakhstan.
Yes.
And he goes and interviews people about various things, but during the course of the interview, he's going to say something horribly offensive or do something horribly offensive, and it's just to see how people would react to this kind of situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's a guy who's pushing other people's boundaries with several of his characters.
Yes. And only he and like a couple other people and Pamela Anderson knew what was going on in this movie. Everything else was completely unscripted, and people are made to be uncomfortable in this movie.
Joel, what situation did you watch this movie for the first time?
It was a Clear Play one.
Okay. Were you in college?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. Zach, where were you when you first saw this movie?
No, I was out.
Hollywood Connection in West Valley City, Utah, with 3 of my high school friends, and then one other person who was, I think, on the 3rd row.
In the theater.
In the movie theater.
Yeah, and I saw this in the theater as well. And when I tell you, if you're into crass comedy at a certain age and you're watching this on the big screen with a group of like-minded but shallow-minded individuals, this is the funniest movie ever made. It is so funny to the point where, like, you hate yourself for laughing at some of the jokes, and you'll never watch it again because it doesn't hold up. But it's funny one time.
I think you end up laughing, especially if you're in a group. You end up laughing to break the tension because
Yeah.
I think
'Cause
this
it's
is funny.
uncomfortable.
As they're
Like the wrestling scene.
as they're running through a hotel.
Yeah, I was dying. It's kind of like another prank series of movies where you're like, I shouldn't laugh at this, but you're kind of laughing because it's so awkward.
Yeah.
Right. That's Borat to me, and because I watched it, I think I watched it twice, and I hated it the second time I saw it, but I loved it the first time I saw it. It gets a tier 2.
Okay.
Because it does feel like really good social commentary. Maybe it's more satire than it is parody. What about you guys?
I can't imagine this is Joel's cup of tea.
No.
No, this is not my style of humor. There's certain parts, there's funny moments. But my first thought when I watched this, well, I shouldn't say my first thought. One of my thoughts after I finished it was, I was kind of overrated.
Oh,
because
sure.
I saw it after the big clamor and
Sure.
everything and the
Everyone
hype.
has-
Funniest
everyone
movie
has a-
ever.
Yeah, everyone's like,
Yeah.
this is amazing, this is amazing.
They have an
And
impression.
Also, I watched it edited, so maybe
I
certain,
think something's taken out.
Because there's so much shock value.
there's so much shock humor and a lot of it was taken out. I remember the wrestling match was definitely choppy. Did not really know what was going on there and had to get explained.
Good. Lucky.
Dudity was happening.
Yes, but I give
couldn't
it.
really tell.
It's a tier 3 for me.
Yeah.
It's not my style of humor. I appreciate what the character is trying to do and how he's trying to improvise this whole movie.
Yeah.
And there's parts I still will quote to this day, as we know every time we mention my wife.
Yeah, I
Comes
think
out like
that
that.
has transcended the show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it has.
To me, that is actually more of a reference to the podcast Doug Loves Movies. Like that's something that they always do on that show, right? So it's like a reference of a reference. This isn't my thing. As much as this was one of the more memorable, I mean, literally, I remember exactly where I was, what theater, who I was with. This is a very memorable experience for me, and I don't think in a good way. I laughed a lot.
Like a little corruption, maybe?
Yes, I felt bad doing it because
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not supposed to be here. And again, I laughed at some stuff, but overall it was uncomfortable laughter, and I gave this a tier 3.
Okay.
So we're both joined the Kazakh government and kind of just denounced this film.
Oh, for sure. Our next film is Dracula, Dead and Loving It.
Mel Brooks' parody of the classic vampire story and its famous film adaptations. And this is directed by Mel Brooks.
Parodies the Dracula franchise.
Yep, and then you also get the parody of the Fearless Vampire Killers and Bram Stoker's Dracula as well. Leslie Nielsen is Dracula in this, but you also get Steven Weber from Wings and Amy Asbeck from Wings.
This is definitely, I mean, it was made 30 years ago, but it feels like late Mel Brooks, even though he's still alive.
You say late Mel Brooks, Kent. This, to date, is the final film that Mel Brooks directed.
No.
He has not directed a film since 1995.
Because he
Since this
didn't,
movie.
he didn't direct the producers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, this and
And he's been in Hotel Transylvania.
and this one was a critical and commercial failure, and so I think it kind of like he's like, I'm done.
Like, it felt like everyone was sleepwalking, especially Leslie Nielsen at this time, who, like, really just didn't seem like he was into it.
There are moments,
So he was dead and not so loving it.
Yeah.
but there are moments of this movie that I will laugh uproariously at. The part when they're staking the vampire through the heart and fountains of blood are shooting up out of the coffin and completely soaking Steven Weber. And he's like, she just ate, hit her again. And he has to keep doing it and keep spraying him. I laugh every time.
Yeah.
I think it's hilarious. The rest of the movie, there are a few funny parts, but I'm going to give this a tier 3.
Long sigh.
Yeah. I remember watching this one as a teenager and being like, that's hilarious. But then I also recognize its faults. Tier 3.
Yeah, it's a tier 3. Totally forgettable.
Whereas I think it's a tier 3.
Oh, okay.
I
a little
don't-
differing opinion there.
Yeah, I
Comparison.
don't like it at all, actually.
I was surprised that you'd seen it. Like when you marked down that you'd seen it, I was like, how have you seen Dracula? Dead
Because
and
it's
Loving
one of the lesser known parodies.
I think I saw it on TBS at some point.
makes
I'm
sense.
like, oh, because I remember I think my dad watched it, when I was a kid, and this one's R-rated. Yeah.
No, it's PG-13 for comedic sensuality and gore.
I feel like I was shooshed away from this one.
Yes.
And so I was curious, and so I think I caught it on TV once and went, oh, that was dumb.
Mel Brooks does like the ribald sense of humor,
Yeah.
the kind of naughty sense of humor.
Do you feel like Leslie Nielsen kind of became a Liam Neeson of his genre?
Yes.
Where
he kept
he's just
doing the
taking
same-
comedic dumb stuff.
Oh, that's fitting.
Yeah.
No, because he's going to be the new Naked Gun.
You got it. Okay. Our next is High School High.
Richard Clark has just left the well-known Wellington Academy to teach at the Marion Barry High School. Now he will try to inspire the D-average students into making good grades and try to woo a fellow teacher.
And this is going to spoof such films as Blackbird Jungle, High School Confidential, The Principal, Dangerous Minds, Lean on Me, The Substitute, Stand and Deliver, and Grease.
I mean, I
Basically,
always get
inspirational
Coolio
school movies.
in my head.
And this stars John Lovitz and Tia Carrere. I remember this is like Tia Carrere post Wayne's World, which I was like, oh, she's going to be a star.
Has John Lovitz ever headlined a movie other than High School High?
Mom and Dad Save the World. Does that count?
Was he the main? He wasn't the main star though.
Yeah, he's
the
just a
main
guy
bad guy.
in things,
But he was kind of perfect for this role, as a substitute teacher. And when I say perfect, I mean it's a John Lovitz movie, right? The low bar.
Once again, surprised you've seen this, Zach.
Random, but I am surprised I've seen this too.
So I saw this when I was in the peak of I want to watch inappropriate PG-13 comedies.
Yeah.
And anytime this movie was a little too dirty or I didn't understand the joke, I loved it. And so I was like, oh, that is so funny because I like dirty jokes.
I cannot lie.
It's not good at all.
No, it's not.
Like you said, Tia Carrere's in this movie, right? I was okay with that for sure, but it's a bad film.
You got to understand, I was all through junior high school. I was a TBS kid. Like I watched TBS, right? I watched the block of sitcoms, and then they always had like a dumb movie because at one point they were like TBS, very funny, and so they would play garbage comedies like this.
Yeah.
And so this is where I saw a bunch of garbage comedies, including this one, which is a tier 3.
The tier 3.
Yeah.
I kind of lied, guys. I want to confess something.
You
now.
only kind of seen it?
I've seen half of it.
Okay.
That's enough.
This is one of the few movies in my life where we turned it off. It got to a point. I was actually watching this with my sister and my brother-in-law. They were just recently married. I was hanging out at their house, and we turned this on. We're like, yeah, it's gonna be funny. And midway through, we're like, that's not fun.
I know which part you turned it off at.
We'll talk after.
Yeah, we'll talk after. Meow. Am I wrong?
That's exactly right.
Yeah, I know. It's the only part I remember from the movie. Because when I was 15, I was like, "That's so funny." Oh, by the way, I was Butthead or Beavis. You name it.
But no, this is a trash movie. I didn't like it. I'm not sad. I never finished it.
Yeah.
So tier 3 for me.
Yeah.
Now we have Hot Shots. Sorry, Hot Shots.
Yeah, it's
Because
got an
first it was
exclamation point.
Christopher Walken.
Hot Shots.
Hot Shots.
A
That's how
parody
I've
of-
always said it.
A parody of Top Gun, like it says it right there in the synopsis, in which a talented but unstable fighter pilot must overcome the ghosts of his father and save emissions sabotaged by greedy weapons manufacturers.
That synopsis is actually pretty great.
We're literally
Yeah.
laughing by the synopsis.
Yeah.
So
this is a
there's
Jim
all-
Abrams film. He directed this one.
There's also Dance with Wolves, Marathon Man, Superman, Rocky, Gone with the Wind. This is one of those where it is Top Gun, but they're just going to be like, and some Rambo.
Yeah, Top Gun is the main framing device.
Yeah.
Well, I think it starts with Dances with Wolves at the very beginning.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Did you guys watch this more than Top Gun?
Yeah.
Me too.
Equal amounts.
Okay,
Oh, okay.
I saw Hot Shots before I saw Top Gun.
I own Hot Shots. I don't own Top Gun. I just realized. I don't own Top Gun, but I own Hot Shots. Charlie Sheen in his, I don't want to say comedic debut, but he's the comedic star of this.
Was this comedic peak?
And Valor Golino, remember
Yeah.
him? Yeah. Lloyd Bridges is fantastic in this. There's Carrie Yule.
When is he not?
Ellis.
Hold on, say that again.
Elvis.
We've never got that right.
I didn't get that right that time. But it's-
Carrie Ellis.
I know Hot Shots is a dumb movie,
Oh,
but
it's
it is
terribly
it is my kind of dumb.
Yeah.
And
have
so,
you rewatched it recently? Because I want to know if I
have.
should.
Yes, can't watch it. Watch it with your kids if you can.
Oh, really?
I watch
Because
it-
there's an inappropriate scene.
well, you can fast forward to that.
Okay, making eggs.
Joel's not watching that.
But I watched this with my kids, with my boys. We watched it, and they were cracking up. They were
Really?
loving it. And I don't even know if they've seen half of these movies. I'm pretty sure they haven't seen the Fabulous Baker Boys,
Yeah.
or Gone with the Wind, but they thought those parts were funny too. So this is hilarious. Tier 1 for me.
Okay.
One of the top parodies out there for me.
I'm going tier 2 because I have wanted to leave it in the past a little bit. I'm gonna rewatch it and let you know. But I'm like, I loved it. I feel like I grew out of it.
One of the things that makes me laugh, one of the ridiculous things that makes me laugh every single time, and I just giggle. I know it's coming, and I still giggle, is when Lloyd Bridges is drinking, it looks like a cup of coffee. And he just goes, pudding, and it splats not Charlie Sheen, splats a character in the face. I don't know why. Or when he walks outside and ends up hitting his head on a metal beam and then makes a ding noise, and he's like, I'll get that, and starts walking out. Lloyd Bridges is a hilarious movie. So many funny parts.
I give this a tier 1.
Oh, I'm so
like
sorry.
the ridiculousness of it. I also appreciate Charlie Sheen's tough guy attempt machismo.
Yeah.
How it plays in the movie works really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
The Chihuahua gag. Every time they sit down and they sit on a Chihuahua and then have to move it. Sorry, you just reminded me that with Charlie Sheen.
now
saying that.
I will admit, I think I've only seen this once, and I have seen the other one that we're going to talk about the next time we do one of these episodes more.
You've seen part 2 more?
I think I have.
Wow.
Weird, right?
Yeah.
So I do. I'm scared to go back to this one, but I think I'd like to.
Okay.
I still like it. I still like Hot Shots.
And how about Kung Pao? Enter the Fist.
A rough around the edges martial arts master seeks revenge for his parents' death.
This is such an experiment in parody because
And indie film as well.
The truest experiment in parody.
Because what Stephen Odekirk, the director and star, did was he took these old movies, a 1976 Hong Kong martial arts film, Tiger and Crane Fists, and he digitally inserted himself into the movie.
And cows.
And cows. He added some parts too, but he kind of spliced together pieces of this old movie along with some new scenes. He dubs over the entire thing, does almost all the voices.
It
That's a lot of nuts!
This feels like such a Joel movie to me.
This feels like the most Joel movie.
I didn't know you.
I know you love these.
Until 10 years after I saw this for the first time. And I felt like I knew you 10 years previous.
But why? Why is it a Joel movie?
I think I saw it when I was living in Provo, and I could feel your spirit there in the city at the same time going, I'm going to make a friend with a guy that really enjoys this dumb movie.
I enjoy it way more than
I knew
should.
you would.
Of course you do.
Way more than I should.
Okay, this is the type of movie that you should either be really tired at like 12:30 at night watching this movie, and you'll love it, or maybe on something.
Cheech and Chonged.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
That's a verb?
Yep.
It really is like, it has to be a mood that you're in to enjoy comedy.
You do
like
have to
this.
be in the right mood to watch this movie, because I will say this: if you're not, it can be quite annoying. Like, my wife walked in the room while me and my son were watching it, and we were cracking up, and she walked in right at one of the parts, and she was like, "What is this?" She got a little annoyed by it. However, I'll say this: I find this movie hilarious.
Of course you do.
I find this movie so clever. It's like a Mystery Science Theater if the person put themselves in the movie, because they're kind of mocking the movie while being.
And I love the
Mystery
experiment.
Science Theater.
Yeah.
And the effects still hold up actually pretty well.
Yeah.
Not the CGI cow as much.
No.
But like when he puts himself in a scene, it's
Yeah.
hard to tell, oh, wait, that's him and this actual actress. But I also know
That it's bad?
no, that
Be true to yourself.
this absurd humor would annoy many people, so I can't recommend it to many others.
Okay.
So this actually got pushed down to a tier 2.
Wow.
I wanted to give it a tier 1 because it is so. Kung Pao Enter the Fist is such a stupid movie, but it's my kind of stupid again.
Did you also watch Thumb Wars, like those type of movies?
Yeah, I saw those.
Okay.
Yeah, same guy, Steve Onukirk.
Yeah,
yeah.
I know. It's like my Joel genre. My Joel genre.
The genre.
I sadly give this a tier 3.
Oh, that hurts.
And it's a tier 2 movie to me, but because based on the other movies in the selection, it's sadly tier 3. I'm so sorry, Joel.
It's a strange kind of genius.
Yeah.
This is probably my favorite Saturday Night Live sketch on this list.
Okay. Yeah.
In that I want it for a Saturday Night Live sketch a length of time, right? If
yeah.
this was a 6-7 minute deal, I'd love it. As an entire movie, it gets very tiresome to me. So I appreciate the humor in many moments. I think this movie perfectly exists in YouTube clips.
Yeah.
Like, that's how you should consume it moving forward. But when
It's only an hour and 22 minutes.
and that is an hour and
15
20
minutes too
minutes too long, you know, like I can't continue watching this as a whole movie. I have to give it tier 3. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
See,
Feel
and
bad.
I just showed this. My son was pretty sick, and so he stayed home. And I was showing him a movie. I showed him this movie, and he was not reacting to much of anything most of the day. Like, I'd ask him what he wanted to eat, and he's like, oh. But then I turned on this movie, and he was watching it like, half of, like, his eyes half closed,
Also, best time to watch it as well.
and then he started laughing
When you're
and
sick.
he started coughing up phlegm. And I was like, it's working.
Yay.
Kung Pao worked.
Oh, speaking of movies that should say Saturday Night Live sketches, we have MacGruber.
MacGruber. Foremost Special Operative MacGruber is called back into action to take down his archenemy, who's in possession of a nuclear warhead and bent on
you.
destroying Washington, D.C. Just edited myself there.
This parodies Rambo, MacGyver. Not really MacGyver, though.
I mean, the Saturday Night Live sketch is a
Yes,
parody
that
of
is.
MacGyver.
The movie is
Movie.
not. But also international action thrillers or movies of the 2000s era where they're like, oh, we're going to go to this sandy place and there's a villain and we're going to save the world. That didn't make any sense.
Because this came out in 2010, starring Will Forte, Kristen Wiig, Ryan Philippe, Maya Rudolph, Val Kilmer. And it was a Saturday Night Live sketch. It literally was a Saturday Night Live sketch where it'd be like, oh, we got to stop this bomb, MacGruber. And then he'd just do all these ridiculous things until it eventually blew up.
Listen, I mean, Kristen Wiig is in this movie. Is it Powers Booth that is the general in this movie?
Possibly.
I think so. Will Forte, I really like. Val Kilmer, I really like. Why do I hate this movie more than anything?
It is, less than the sum of its parts.
Yeah.
It's the worst.
I really don't like this movie at all.
When it was released in theaters, it had a third week drop of showings of 94%. 94% drop on people going to see this.
Word got out like, don't.
They
go see
removed it from theaters after the third week.
And
That's
then,
how bad
didn't
it was.
they, like in 2021, make a TV series, like a 1-season TV
They
series?
did.
Oh, yeah.
On Peacock or something like
Ridiculous.
that. And they're talking about making a MacGruber 2, which is a stupid idea.
We'll talk about MacGruber again in the SNL movies list.
Yeah.
I think the filmmakers of MacGruber got comedy mixed up with vulgarity.
Yeah.
Because it is shock humor, where they're
Yes.
just trying to be like, we did something shocking, react. We did something shocking again, react. and it's terrible. It's just terrible. Tier of 3. This
Yes.
might be one of my. This probably 1 star. Like this is one of my lowest ones on the
okay.
entire list here.
Yeah, me too.
I do not like MacGruber.
Tier 3 is all around
Yes.
for MacGruber. Next is Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Tights.
A spoof of Robin Hood in general and Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. Oh, this actually says it in particular.
Yeah.
That's the summary.
That's the synopsis from IMDb.
That's it.
Directed by Mel Brooks, starring
That was stupid.
Carrie Elwes, Richard Lewis, David Chappelle, Amy. What's her name? I forgot her name. Anyway,
Hear me out. Carrie Elwes. Why wasn't he in a real Robin Hood movie?
he should have been.
Is he not perfect for the role?
He kind of was.
with Princess Bride?
Was he not?
Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of that character.
This is also a movie I watched way more than the movie it was based on. Because
More than Prince of Thieves?
I love Prince of Thieves.
I
But
like
Men in Tights
I
was
like
so
it.
accessible. Yeah.
I watched Prince of Thieves probably more than Men in Tights.
Did you?
Yeah,
Just for the songs.
in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Yeah.
We're
What
men,
songs?
manly men. We're men in tights.
The score.
Everything I Do.
Yeah.
that comes at the very end in the credits.
Everything I do.
But there's so many scenes in this, like the fight on the little bridge and the stream is pretty great. Richard Lewis, who you don't see in very many movies, at least as a kid, I
have a mole.
Yeah, like he's really funny. I love this movie.
Really? That shocks me, Kent. What's your name?
I know,
He's-
right?
he's
Okay.
Kent.
That
I'm
shocks
Joel.
I know.
me, Kent.
It's because I like a comedy, right? You
Welcome
thought
to
I was
Baconsale, I'm
Joel.
Oh, I'm
Kent.
I'm not. Okay, good.
Yeah.
No, I haven't watched this in 10 years, but 10 years ago, I liked it a lot.
I would figure
Don't watch
you would
it.
hate this movie.
No,
Don't watch it again, Ken.
no, don't do
Leave
that.
it in the past.
Seriously?
Leave it in the past.
Is it just too slapsticky?
It's Mel Brooks style. It's this inherently juvenile style of humor where he's constantly going for an easy, dumb joke rather than going for a clever joke. He'll get a clever joke every so often, but most of it is just kind of throwing out, oh, hey, here's this brand. And this is one that definitely hasn't aged well because the reference. It's
Are they making fun of Kevin Costner the whole time?
yeah.
Okay.
And then also just other things of the time where it's like, hey, we're going to make this reference. And I went, oh, yeah, that was a thing back then.
Oh,
So, and this was, by the way, Robin Hood Men in Tights was a movie version of a short-lived sitcom that Mel Brooks made called When Things Were Rotten in the mid-'70s, and it was a spoof of Robin Hood. A lot of the same jokes reused again. But I give it a tier 2.
I probably should as well then, but it's a tier 1 for me.
See, I'm starting to doubt myself, but yeah, I gave it a tier 1 as well. I think I have fond memories of it.
Wait. So go on. Why do you like it so much?
Let the memories be fond.
Yeah,
Let the memories
I'm
be
now
fond.
scared. No, I remember watching this and having a good time, but I saw it young. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, that's like this. So
I mean,
many of the
Dave
stories.
Chappelle, tiny Dave Chappelle in this one. Abe Lincoln.
that was his film debut.
Yeah.
I gave this a tier 1 because there are so many moments that have stuck in my memory.
Yeah.
Like you can just I can picture them so easily. They obviously impressed on me.
Yeah.
And even little things like a mole, right? Why am I laughing at a mole 20
Yeah.
years later? You know,
My review of Robin Hood Men in Tights says even Blinken could see most of the jokes coming from a mile away. Blinken was the blind guy.
Sure. But no, I gave it a tier 1. When I mentioned that we were doing a parody show to my wife, like this was the first one she mentioned. Like, I think this is another signature movie within the genre.
Yep.
And
Let it live in the past.
okay, fine. I'll move on from it. Speaking of signature movies in the genre, the next one we have is Scary Movie.
A year after disposing the body of a man they accidentally killed, a group of dumb teenagers are stalked by a bumbling serial killer. Directed by Keenan Ivory Wayans, who did Scary Movie 2 and White Chicks and Little Man. And it's got Carmen Electra, Shannon Elizabeth, Anna Faris.
This is where
Regina
we get
Hall.
to movies of the era. I would say the 2000s where, now hear me out. This is going to be casserole. Scream, I Know What You Did Last Summer, The Exorcist, The Shining, Blair Witch Project, American Pie, great. The Sixth Sense, Matrix, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, sure. Halloween. This is like Spitfire. Hey, have you seen a scary movie? Here it is.
The Scary Movie and subsequent blank movies are like you're shopping at a Spirit Halloween, and it's like, hey, look, reference, but it's kind of a silly version of that.
Yeah.
Yes.
What was so funny about this one? So I saw this in the theater, which I probably shouldn't have. I think I was preparing for a mission at the time, and
This is very R-rated.
it's very R-rated. And I wasn't even I wasn't a prude, but I was really offended by this movie. Just
As
'cause-
you should have been.
because it wasn't like crass comedy I could handle in my teen years, but it wasn't like funny to me.
Yeah.
It was just like, oh, that was like really, that overdid it. But when this movie came out, they said, hey, no, the joke was Scary Movie, no sequel. And I was like, wow, I love that for you. And then it made a ton of money and they made 5.
And well, they made on the next poster for Scary Movie 2, the tagline was, "We lied."
Yeah, they lied.
Which I was like, that's the funniest thing about this whole franchise.
Joel, I think you saw this most recent of the three of us.
Yes. And my review says, watching Scary Movie is like being in the car with a terrible driver. Every time this movie has a chance to do something clever, they veer into crudeness instead. Each one-dimensional character has a single joke that they repeat for the entire movie, even if it wasn't funny to begin with. This is gross-out humor at the worst, trying to shock the viewer into laughter instead of trying to do anything remotely creative. This is an immature, perverse, and offensive waste of time. 1 star. So I'm giving it a tier 1.
Tier one star.
No, tier 3. I hate this movie. And in fact, I watched Scary Movie 1. It was a TV edit, and I still was like, this is horribly offensive and terrible. And it wasn't funny. I started Scary Movie 2, and that's another where I turned it off. And I was like, I'm done. I'm done with these.
We'll talk about the sequels later.
With the Wayans
Now
version.
tell me this. Is Scream a satire or parody?
Satire.
Okay. Because
Send up, if that's a different
Scream
thing.
did enough to
question.
kind of go, hey, do you like this genre? Here's a love letter to it, right? And then they're like doubling down with Scary Movie, and I just totally wasted opportunity.
Yeah. I think maybe satire might be the thing, because satire is more serious, too.
Yeah.
I feel like Scream is satire, even though it's not pointing out the flaws as much. Yeah.
Zach?
Save it for our Scream episode.
I mean, I would.
I mean, I am a little bit younger. I think this probably hit me at a different point in life.
Yeah.
But for the record, I did not watch this at 10 years old.
Good.
Yeah, very good there. No, I don't like this movie at all.
Yeah.
It doesn't land for me. Tier 3.
Do you guys know it was the 9th highest grossing movie of the year domestically?
I'm actually not surprised.
Just below X-Men, just above What Lies Beneath. This movie.
Yeah.
How about Shaun of the Dead?
The uneventful aimless lives of a London electronics salesman and his layabout roommate are disrupted by the zombie apocalypse. Directed by who, Kent?
Edgar Wright.
Yeah. And starring Simon Pegg and Nick Frost and Kate Ashfield.
This parodies George Romero's zombie movies and society's apathy.
Yes. And also British culture.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of that, if a zombie invasion were to happen in England, they'd have a very British response to it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you know this, but there's an invisible jersey on the wall that says Shaun of the Dead, meaning we can't talk about it anymore because
We talk about it so much.
It's tier 1.
We like it.
It's tier 1. There's not much to say more about it because we talked about it a lot in past.
But truly, like, I think it's good when a parody is a clever parody on something, and you go, I can appreciate that because I know the source.
Well, even the
But
name,
if these zombie movies didn't exist in the first place,
Yeah.
this is still a good zombie movie.
even the name Shaun of the Dead is a play on Dawn of the Dead.
Yes.
And this manages to be a parody that also is the movie. Like they're parodying it while doing the movie itself. So it's not like they're not like referencing or making fun of it. They do the movie, and it's
Great
like,
movie
oh,
on
that's
its own.
clever.
Yes.
And it's a great movie on its own. That's why a parody needs a good story to start with. So Shaun of the Dead is a fantastic movie.
Easiest tier 1 on the list.
Yeah.
Easiest tier 1.
Not my top tippity top tier 1, but it's just a ridiculously easy tier 1. We all love it. All right, next dang it.
Here we go. I know.
I was just realizing
You spoke too soon.
I have a Shaun of the Dead t-shirt that I should have wore tonight.
You should have worn.
Didn't
Yep.
even think about it.
Sorry.
Oh, dang it. Okay, next movie is Shrek.
A mean lord exiles fairy tale creatures to the swamp of a grumpy ogre who must go on a quest and rescue a princess for the lord in order to get his land back.
And this is directed by Andrew Adamson, who did The Chronicles of Narnia and Shrek 2.
Okay.
And Vicky Jensen, who did Shark Tale. You can see who the brains is there.
So the parodies, yeah, right.
Ouch.
The parodies, I would just say Disney in general. But then it kind of goes more for like, there's Spider-Man 2. I think that might be in Shrek 2. The Matrix, Beauty and the Beast, fairy tales in general.
Yeah, and that's it.
Yeah,
This
it's fairy tale tropes.
We
And
we
that's
debated whether to
specifically
include this or
Disney.
not, but we decided, yes, this is a send up. Like even Duloc, the song and
Small
everything.
World.
Duloc is, yeah.
That's Disneyland.
For sure.
They're mocking and parodying Disneyland.
And sort of the commercialization and all of that.
Yeah, which I love that part when he runs through the ropes with the big
He
head.
just walks through them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
for some reason,
is this a victim of dated references already?
there are dated references
Yeah.
in it. Yes.
There's a wrestling scene, Kent.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I don't know about the dated references necessarily. I mean, is it
The Matrix?
DreamWorks is known for doing that. DreamWorks is known for putting dated references into movies, into their animated movies, where they're like, we're going to make this cultural thing, which is hot now, a thing. And then they kind of don't hold up well.
go with me here though? Shrek itself has become such an icon that it kind of doesn't matter what it's referencing. It's just in Shrek.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with that. That's why we debated whether to put this on the list or not, because it's like, well, Shrek is Shrek. And it's
Yeah.
like, no, this was made to kind of parody.
You know
all the
what's
Disney
funny
stuff.
is Smash Mouth was big in like 96 through like 98, right? And then Shrek comes out 2 years after that, and everyone's like, really? Smash Mouth? like throughout the soundtrack. But yes, Smash Mouth became like an amazing thing again because of Shrek.
People don't realize that if you watch the music video for Smash Mouth All-Star, it's tied to the movie Mystery Men.
Yeah.
Ben Stiller. Like there are clips of Mystery Men in it, and it's like set at a scene from Mystery Men.
Yeah.
But this movie, Shrek, it being the intro, gave that song such life that people just immediately tie it with Shrek instead. It's no shock that I like this movie. I reference it all the time.
Yeah.
It's become a bit of a Baconsale meme. Therefore, I have to give it tier 3. I'm kidding. It's tier 1. I love this movie. I think it's so funny. I thought it was so funny when I was a kid, and I hadn't even been to Disneyland. I loved the irreverent take on fairy tale creatures.
Yes.
And I love this concept that whatever you think the fairy tale creatures are, it's like the backstage version of that.
Yeah.
It's like actually behind the scenes, they're like just waiting for their next smoke break.
Yeah.
They're not actually magical people. It's like, what? Yeah, it's so funny. And so I think that this is great. I think that Donkey is one of the most endearingly annoying characters ever put to film.
Well said.
I think that, Cameron Diaz does a good job as Fiona.
Would this have done as well had Chris Farley completed his voice work?
No.
No,
You've heard the test, right?
Because he was hired initially to do Shrek, and I think they said he was like 5 days away from finishing his voice work when he passed away tragically. And then Mike Myers came in. He actually recorded it, and then said, "No, I want to do that all again with a Scottish accent." And they questioned him.
I think that Chris Farley, the movie still would have been very popular, and obviously Farley was a big deal and people loved it. And the movie would have been popular, but I think that this has some staying power because from what I've heard of the demos, Chris Farley brought a sense of self-loathing.
Yeah.
Whereas I think you genuinely feel sympathy for Mike Myers' version of Shrek. I think you really do feel for him, like going, oh, you're being prickly because you're afraid to let somebody in.
But it's the voice of his parents from So I Married an Axe Murderer, and so I kind of attribute it to that as well.
Yeah.
A movie I love.
But yeah, there was an exhausting part of Chris Farley's voice in those tests.
Yeah, he's always screaming.
Yeah.
Chris Farley was always screaming. It's what I don't like about him. But I don't want to speak ill,
Yeah.
but I'm not a huge fan.
Yeah.
Save for our Chris Farley episode.
At the
We should
time,
do
So
that.
many episodes.
that wouldn't be a bad one.
Yeah.
At the time, I was a bigger Mike Myers fan. Again, I loved Austin Powers. I liked Wayne's World. I liked So I Married an Axe Murderer. The guy could do no wrong for me in the 90s and
Love Guru.
early aughts.
Yeah.
Love Guru is where it all went away.
Yes.
So again, easy tier 1 for me. I love Shrek.
Easy tier 1.
It really hit a stride in Shrek 2.
Oh,
But
We're not talking about that right now.
I know, that's why I'm giving this one a tier 1 as well.
Yes.
Yeah,
Joel,
it's
my
a
heart
tier
was
1
about to be
parody.
broken.
jeez.
Oh, okay.
Oh, and here we go.
Next one is Shrek the Third. We jumped over Shrek 2.
Yeah, we did
Yeah.
for reasons.
That's
We want to show the good and maybe the not so
Joel.
good.
Did you learn the Xbox School of Counting? Or
Yes.
something? What happened?
All right, here's a synopsis of Shrek Third. Reluctantly designated as the heir to the land far, far away. Shrek hatches a plan to install a
Turning
rebellious
and burning.
Artie as the new king, while Princess Fiona tends to fend off a coup d'etat by the jilted Prince Charming. And this has the same cast of Mike Myers, Eddie Murphy, Cameron Diaz, Antonio Banderas, and the whole gang.
And Justin Timberlake.
And just Timberlake is Artie.
This one, the parodies, like it obviously has the fairy tale stuff, but it's more like, hey, Charlie's Angels, that's kind of newish, right? $6 Million Man. Hey, do you kids know that? No.
I saw Shrek in theater. My mom took me because she got a free coupon in
Shrek the Third.
grocery or something. No, the first Shrek.
Oh, first Shrek,
I saw it in theater and I loved it. Then we saw the second one. Loved it. Had a great time.
Yeah.
Then I saw the third one in theater. By this point, I'm a little bit older. I'm now in high school. I'm dating, so I go with a date to see Shrek
And
the Third.
the hype, it couldn't be higher.
I was so stoked.
Yeah.
And then Justin Timberlake was in this one.
Yeah.
And like, oh, this is going to be so much fun. Maybe this is the most disappointed I have ever been for a movie.
Really?
I'm a big fan
Shrek the Third, was that disappointing?
of 2.5 Shrek films, and this isn't the half. Like
Yeah.
I was mad to the point where in protest, I have never watched it again. I had like negative fun watching this movie.
I don't know if I've seen it a second time. In fact, after I marked it down, everything, I went back and watched the trailer and read about it. I'm like, wait, have I seen this one?
Yeah. Because you
It's
just
so forgettable.
erased it from your mind immediately.
It's so forgettable.
Yeah.
But I give this a tier 3 as well. It's not one that I even care to talk about much.
It's a tier 3. I think it ruined the franchise to the point that it didn't deserve a 4th movie. And it made Shrek feel like you should spoof that movie, where Shrek was the spoof. And it's like, it's a bad example of Hollywood corruption, essentially. Yeah.
It's sad.
I know.
Sad. How the Mighty Have Fallen, and we jumped over the second one.
How about Spaceballs?
Spaceballs!
A star pilot for hire and his trusty sidekick must come to the rescue of a princess and save planet Druidia from the clutches of the evil Spaceballs.
There's another Mel Brooks movie, and this one's got Bill Pullman and John Candy and Rick Moranis and Daphne Zuniga.
Oh, yeah. Daphne Zuniga. Oh,
yeah.
Mercy. This parody is Star Wars, Star Trek, Wizard of Oz, 2001, Planet of the Apes.
Transformers.
A lot of stuff. Yeah. Alien.
One thing I found funny about this movie, because this is a Star Wars send-up, and Mel Brooks did approach George Lucas and say, hey, are you cool if we do this? And there was some agreements that were laid out, one of which being that that he could not actually make any merchandise from Spaceballs.
Oh.
And that's why they do that whole scene about all the merchandise they're going to have for Spaceballs.
Wow.
Didn't exist. That was part of the agreement.
Interesting.
George Lucas absolutely loved it. He thought it was hilarious.
Is it wrong that Lone Star is my Han Solo?
Lone Star.
Like, I watched Bill Pullman in this role more than I probably watched Star Wars as a kid. And I thought he was the coolest.
Really?
Yeah, him and is it Biff? Hold on, what?
Barf.
Barf. Oh
Barf.
my goodness. Of course it's Barf.
No, that's Boff.
It's Spoof. Spiff, boof, barf. But I love this movie. Pizza the Hut, I thought was the funniest thing. I didn't even know who Joan Rivers was, but I thought she was so fun. The Schwartz. Honestly,
with you.
Having Rick Moranis as a dark helmet is so good. I still think of Combing the Sands. Is that visual gag?
We're combing the beach?
Combing the
desert. Combing the desert. That's
and I still laugh at it.
the part with the alien parody, when the alien parody jumps out of John Hurt and then starts doing, hello, my baby. Hello.
Tier 1 scene immediately.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Hilarious. There are so many things to like about this movie.
But
Don't say however.
But
Mel Brooks.
What?
My style of comedy and Mel Brooks, it's just like, he's a great comedian.
Is this the least dirty of his movies, though? Beyond maybe.
Think so?
Is it? I don't remember. I didn't get the jokes when I was a little kid.
Yeah, they're there. But there's so many clever things in this movie. This movie is very, 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 very quotable.
Yeah.
Like different things. I've said many times because of this movie. Sometimes some things I didn't understand what I was saying. And then my parents had to be like, don't say that. But I think Spaceballs is it's the best Star Wars parody, I think, out there.
Family Guy.
Oh,
Really?
Blue Harvest?
For the original Family Guy.
Yeah. Stop it.
I gave this ended up getting down to a tier 2 though.
Tier 1.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Tier 2. I also don't jive super well with Mel Brooks. And this one to me was like, I don't know, maybe it felt the most pandery of all of his parodies for some reason.
Because it's so direct.
I think so. I think it's a little too on the nose for
Yeah.
my tastes.
But every time I do drink hot chocolate that's too hot, I imagine that part when my helmet flits down, I'm like, hot.
Yes.
It's too hot.
I love Pullman though. Bill Pullman.
Yeah.
Oh, he's
is
great.
Fantastic. And I love Rick Moranis. I don't love the movie surrounding it. Again, I like these moments.
Joan Rivers, I don't really care for her C-3PO thing she's got going on.
Yeah.
But overall, it's a funny movie. It's got funny parts.
Yeah.
How about the Brady Bunch movie?
The original 1970s TV family is now placed in the 1990s, where they're even more square and out of place than ever.
So this parodies the Brady Bunch, old-fashioned values, and I would almost say TV remakes, past and future.
Yes.
Because I feel like it's still like relevant somehow.
Yeah. I think that you could argue that this is satirical.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
maybe.
Making a little more of a commentary.
Yes, because they're taking the Brady family and putting them in the nowadays, which was the 90s then, but they were the 60s family with these 60s thoughts and feelings and morals.
And the entire world is just kind of looking at them going, why are you the way you are?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the comedy. The comedy comes from that.
Why was it so good?
But because they I think are giving a fairly sincere Brady performance.
And
I think everybody is actually doing great work.
Yeah.
They're like when you get Shelley Long and Gary Cole being the mom and dad.
My gosh.
And they are playing it so straight
so
as
good.
like they are not trying to be funny. And that's what makes it hilarious.
Yeah.
at the same time, would this be funny if you'd never seen the Brady Bunch? Could you watch this as just like a comedy and be like, that's funny?
I think you need to have passing knowledge, right? Like,
Because kids these days don't know.
I don't think
Brady
you
Bunch.
need to be, like a fan necessarily of the Brady Bunch, but you kind of need to know the structure. You need to know the various character types for this to make any sense.
Well, what's hard, it's a 30-year-old movie at this point making fun of 30 years previously. So if it was a 90s family coming to now, that's the only way it'd kind of be relevant.
They should just do another Brady movie now.
Like 60s to now.
But I think based on it being a fish out of water story, I think it does work on its own. I haven't watched this in 20 years, but I did enjoy it. And I'm going to give it a tier 2.
I like this movie. I like this movie a ton. I think it's very, very funny. I like the premise of it, and I love the performances.
Yes.
I think that everybody does a fantastic job, and to the point where they have somehow replaced the original actors
In your brain.
for me. I think about Shelley Long.
Yeah.
The part that went viral a few years ago, where it was
Sure, Jan.
the short Jan, which is like my favorite GIF to use.
Yeah.
But then there's the Glass, George Glass, like that whole scene. It's like I don't know a George Glass that goes to our school. Like that, just that scene went viral.
Sure, Jan.
And my wife does the pitch perfect voice of that. Like she
Okay.
sounds exactly like
Pitch
like
Perfect
Jan.
was- as Anna
Jan.
Kendrick was Pitch Perfect.
Yeah. She does a perfect impression of Jan, and it makes me laugh every time. So there are tons of moments that I love. That said, with this list, I did end up giving it a tier 2, but like a loving tier 2.
Yeah, I hear that.
Loving tier 2 for me as well. Although
wow.
this is one I have not revisited in a while.
I think I'm going to leave it.
And I think I may watch it though, because I want to show my kids the Brady Bunch, at least some episodes. And then I think I'm going to follow up myself with watching this.
Yeah.
Even though it's PG-13 for racy innuendos. That's what it says on
Some
IMDb.
inappropriateness. And
welcome.
there is a sequel. Maybe don't need to watch
I
that.
think sometimes racy innuendos are necessary.
What?
On Baconsale?
No.
That's what I'm here for.
Family friendly.
How about The Man Who Knew Too Little?
Wallace Ritchie is mistaken for a spy and must stop a plot to assassinate international leaders at a banquet. And this has Bill Murray and Peter Gallagher, Joanne Whalley. Came out in 1997.
This parody is Man Who Knew Too Much, obviously, North by Northwest in a way, and just comedies of error, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's based on a novel called Watch That Man, which is and then the title is from The Man Who Knew Too Little. Mm-hmm. So Bill Murray in 97. Oh man, what was he coming off with this one?
Probably. Like,
What About Bob?
What About Bob?
Maybe right on there.
Yeah.
Groundhog Day was a few
Groundhog Day
years
was 90.
before.
Yeah.
3, 1. Yeah.
Numbers.
There's no way of knowing.
No. That's a Zack joke. And so then with this movie, it came out with The Man Who Knew Too Little. And I was like, oh, Bill Murray, going to be really funny. And I didn't like it. Like the only part I really remember laughing at was my dog is dead.
I think that this is not a good Bill Murray movie. And that's why I don't like it. I think that he's playing
But there are people who
A buffoon.
he's playing a buffoon, and
Yeah.
I like Bill Murray being the guy who thinks he's smarter than you, even if he isn't. The more smarmy Bill Murray. This isn't a version of him I like.
Yeah.
Even though it is kind of mocking espionage movies and that sort of thing,
Yeah.
but I hate it. It's too much hijinks.
Yes.
It's hijinks, and oh my gosh, he saved the day based on hijinks.
But then, if I remember right, he never catches on.
no, he never
He
does.
never realizes.
Even in the end when
'Cause
they recruit him. Sorry, spoiler alert for The Man Who Knew Too Little. They recruit him to the CIA
And
essentially.
he still thinks like a movie role.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So tier 3 for me.
Tier 3.
Tier 3.
Hate it.
Well, what about The Naked Gun?
Incompetent police detective Frank Drebin must foil an attempt to assassinate Queen Elizabeth II.
I must assassinate the queen. This is Leslie Nielsen in peak Leslie Nielsen form,
Yeah.
being, and then you get Priscilla Presley, Ricardo Montalban, George Kennedy, O.J. Simpson. This came out in 1988, and Naked Gun is hilarious. Like,
Now,
so,
we rewatched this for the comedy of comedies, right?
We did. And that's the thing. When people talk about parody and spoofs, they kind of lump the Zucker brothers and Mel Brooks together. And I think Zucker brothers are much more my style of humor than Mel Brooks. So
Even though there's dirty jokes throughout this movie.
there are like, and we had the TV edit growing up. And then I bought the DVD being like, oh yeah, this movie's hilarious. Bought the DVD. There are parts in the DVD that I'd never seen before in my life. And holy cow, did not expect that. It's PG-13. You don't expect that kind
Yeah,
of stuff.
I'll be
hey.
honest, I don't know that I've actually seen the full leaded version.
Hey,
of
Joel.
this,
When you're 16, it's pretty cool.
But the thing I like about Naked Gun series is they have wordplay, like they're
Yeah.
making the verbal jokes, and then there's slapstick happening. There's like background stuff going on. You can watch this again and again and again and get a different joke each time.
And I think you explained it really well with Airplane. It's like the actors are taking this seriously.
Yes.
And the comedy happens because it's so serious.
And this is a parody of a show called M Squad, which was like this police crime drama, and which is great because like no one really knows that, so they only know the Naked Gun.
Yeah.
And it was
Is that great? I mean, is it back to the Brady Bunch argument? Is it like worse because you don't know the source material?
no, because it's this genre of police drama that's still like there's still crime dramas today.
So you think it's general enough?
It's a general enough parody where like, oh, it's just a cop drama. So it doesn't have to be just because it's based on that. It doesn't mean that you have to know the show.
I mean, obviously, there's lots of this type of show of the time period before and since.
Yeah. I really, it's a tier 1 for me. Well, we're going to talk about other Naked Guns and other shows, possibly, if you guys like this episode.
Sure.
But tier 1 for me for the Naked Gun, from the Files to Police Squad. I also love Police Squad. We're not going to talk about that in another show, but I love that series.
In my heart, it's a tier 1, but I got bumped down to 2. I'm so sorry.
How dare you?
You got bumped down. I'm so sorry. It was
What
Prince. It was,
bumped
it was Men in
that
Tights.
down?
It was Men in Tights.
No, you got to watch Men in Tights again.
I know.
I was going to give it tier 2, but Jill's reaction just had me bump it up to tier 1.
What did it replace?
I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Uh-oh.
It's tier 1.
have the power.
No, genuinely, you convinced me. Like I was right on the edge there, and I'm like, I don't know. They're kind of ridiculous, but I think I was probably associating more of the sequels. When I actually think about that first one, The Naked Gun, that is the best of them. And don't you think?
I like 2.5 as well.
2.5 is really good.
They all blur together, so I guess I need to rewatch them if we ever do one of these episodes again. But there's so many funny moments in this, and yeah, sure, I'll give it a tier 1.
Okay.
I just want to make Joel happy
Aww.
all the time.
Okay.
Zach,
right.
you make me happy every day.
Pull my finger.
No.
Okay.
That's a Joel line.
Reference from like 3 episodes ago.
I'm never gonna drop that. No, just like you didn't drop my finger. How about Tropic Thunder?
Through a series of freak occurrences, a group of actors shooting a big-budget war movie are forced to become the soldiers they are portraying. This stars Ben Stiller and Jack Black and Robert Downey Jr.
A lot of other people.
A lot of people.
Steve Coogan.
Yeah.
So what is this a parody of?
Everything. It's basically Vietnam War movies. So Apocalypse Now, Rambo, Missing in Action, Platoon, Full Metal Jacket, Hamburger Hill, Deer Hunter, and then Hollywood in general.
Yes. Because they start lampooning like how actors think themselves so important.
Is this parody of Three Amigos?
Three Amigos itself is actually a parody of
Magnificent Seven.
Yes.
Or Seven Samurai.
Yeah, Seven Samurai.
Yes.
Yeah, we're going all the way back now to Kurosawa. So it's not exactly a parody of that. It's just kind of the same basic
It's the
story.
same idea.
It's like The Bug's Life.
Hear me out. This movie starts off so strong with those fake trailers, right? Which make fun of like a Nutty Professor, for example, or Oscar favorites.
Yes.
And I love the beginning. And then the movie gets into war stuff and I go, oh, you kind of lost the plot halfway through. I stopped caring halfway through.
Yeah.
And when it becomes a real movie, I was like, oh, the parody isn't as good.
You know
Is that wrong?
the biggest laugh I had about this movie was the fact that Robert Downey Jr. was nominated for an actual Academy Award in real life for this movie, where he plays an actor just obsessed with getting the Academy Award. It's hilarious. This is also the one where
part of the meta. Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr. He portrays this actor who is a very method actor.
Yeah.
And so he's going to be playing this role of a black man. And so he actually surgically changes himself into a black man and then like talks and acts in a certain way.
He didn't win, did he?
No, he didn't win.
Do you think it was a gag that he was nominated?
I don't know, because he does give such a really good performance, because he's mocking those actors who completely go
it's
method.
one that's still okay. The meme is still okay.
He somehow has still pulled it off all these years later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The people don't look back and go, "Ooh, that's problematic."
This is a
They do, but they mostly pointing Simple Jack when they say that.
Right.
yeah. It's like, hey, Blazing Saddles, I couldn't make that anymore. Tropic Thunder, couldn't make that anymore.
Right.
Even though it was 2008.
Yeah, which is a while ago.
Yeah.
I would say if I saw this one at a younger age, the legacy would hold up and it would be a tier 1.
Yeah.
But because I saw it, I don't know, 18, 17 years ago, I liked it, but it's a tier 2.
I saw this when I was maybe 19, 20 years old.
Did it hit the spot?
Yeah, I thought it was fun.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny. And you're always like, oh my gosh, that's Tom Cruise. Oh, that's so funny. Oh.
Yeah.
So I don't ever want to watch this movie again, but I can in good conscience give it a tier 3 because I did enjoy it. I like Jack Black and I like Robert Downey Jr. quite a bit. Ben Stiller, take him or leave him in this movie.
Yeah, same.
But yeah, I'll give it a tier 2.
I saw my sister-in-law laugh at this movie harder than any other movie I'd seen her laugh at before.
That's funny. Okay.
At the part when he's running across the bridge and the little kids on his back stabbing him. And Robert Downey Jr. is a hilarious performance. In fact, I think there are a lot of really good performances there. And the Hollywood satire is sharp and funny. And I really appreciate that. This also was on a ClearPlay DVD player at the time, so it was heavily muted most of the time. Very choppy at red parts.
You never go full edit on this one, though.
Never go full edit. But yes, it's a tier 2 from me because I still have this kind of like, I'll think about it and I'll laugh. But I don't know if I can watch this one that much.
Yeah, I get that.
All right. Well, can you watch Waiting for Guffman?
An aspiring director and the marginally talented amateur cast of a hokey small-town Missouri musical production go overboard when they learn that someone from Broadway will be in attendance.
This is another Christopher Guest movie, which means it's a mockumentary and it's mostly improvised, and it features his usual cast of like Eugene Levy, Catherine O'Hara, Fred Willard.
And
Parker
once
Posey.
again,
Parker Posey is particularly good in this one.
I love her in this
he has very good parodies of people. I think this is like theater, community, stage director, small-town life on this one.
Yeah. And this would be PG if it were not for one scene, one singular scene where they're doing auditions. And that's the gag is it's this small town doing a small town audition for a play they're going to do about their town. And this guy comes in and for his audition piece, he starts quoting Raging Bull and just drops a series of F words. Yeah. And so I found that just muting that one part or cutting over that one part, and all of a sudden it's a PG movie and it's hilarious.
Do you guys find yourself removed from this movie? Like you think about Waiting for Guffman, you go, it's probably fine. It's probably overrated. But then every time I watch it, I die laughing. It's amazing. Maybe underrated.
I never doubt my love for this movie.
Okay.
This is, maybe it's just because my history with the theater community, but something in this just resonates my funny bone. And every time I watch this and Corky St. Clair comes on the screen, I am just giggling the entire. For me, this whole mockumentary is like a Zen thing. Like, how many babies can you fit in a tire?
Penny for your thoughts.
A penny for your thoughts.
I like this movie. But so when I think shortly after I started dating my wife, we're like, and she has
Your
it on
wife?
DVD. My wife, and she has it on DVD, and we decided to watch it. I'm like, yeah, I love that movie. It's great, and we put it in. And I think, contrary to what you said, Joel, I think my connection to the community theater community makes this
PTSD.
movie. Yeah, it's like I'm uncomfortable watching it.
I understand that.
I found myself going, oh, this isn't funny. This is actually kind of real and kind of annoying. So I do laugh. I do like it, but it's weirdly gone down a couple notches in my book. I'm still going to give it a tier 2, but I don't like it as much as Best in Show. And I bet you if I was involved in dog showing, I might not like Best in Show as much.
Probably
but because
true.
I have been in mediocre community theater,
From a crazy director, I'm sure, too.
I'm in this and I don't like it.
Oh,
I get it.
He's played at the Empress a lot. I understand.
But I just love Fred Willard and Catherine O'Hara as that seasoned couple.
Wow.
Like
Yeah.
at one point when he reaches down, he's like, he's auditioning and he's like, oh, do you want me to strike the stool? Yeah, we've worked in theater before. Like he's just showing off. Things like that are hilarious.
So good.
Yeah.
So you're both giving it tier 1?
Yes.
Yes.
Of course. I understand.
Yeah. And by the way, the title is a parody of Waiting for Godot.
Godot.
A very popular play by Samuel Beckett. I shouldn't say popular, but famous.
Yeah.
Known.
No,
because I don't know what it's about.
Infamous?
Yeah.
It's about waiting
Yes.
for Godot. They just talk.
Oh.
Godot never shows up. Next up, we have Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story.
Singer Dewey Cox overcomes adversity to become a musical legend. And this stars John C. Reilly, Kristen Wiig, Tim Meadows, Jenna Fisher. Came out in 2007.
Yeah. So this
and bombed.
this parody's Walk the Line came out about the same time. Ray, and hear me out. Every musical biopic ever
Yes.
made
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
point forward.
This is the big swing at biopics. And I don't know.
Okay, what were your thoughts when you saw this one originally?
There were parts that I laughed at. Like there's certain scenes I still think like when he cuts off the legs of his brother.
Yeah.
That's one of a funny part. And then the part with when they're talking about marijuana, for some reason Tim Meadows' intensity makes me laugh every time.
So I was really mad at John C. Reilly because I felt I really took him seriously as a real actor.
Yeah.
And then he became friends with Will Ferrell, and I'm like, I don't like this guy anymore.
It was like, well, there was this weird, I think we've talked about it before, maybe,
Yeah.
where like John C. Reilly and Philip Seymour Hoffman are on opposite trajectories, where one started out in goofy comedic roles and became much more serious, and the other started out in serious roles and became much more comedic.
So there are scenes in this movie which I'm like, oh, that's pretty lowbrow, or that's kind of dumb, but wow. as time goes on, I do think this movie is genius.
This movie is aging
Genius.
very well.
Genius.
I think that it's fascinating, it's funny, and it basically broke every one of these dumb musical biopics for me. I never need to watch any of them
To the
again.
point. Like Better Man, for example, A Complete Unknown that came out last year.
Yeah.
They are walk hard.
Yeah.
And I
Walk hard.
reference him talking with the Beatles.
Yes.
Like I think about that all the time.
Remind
so
me.
silly.
Where it's Jason Schwartzman, Justin Long, Jack Black,
Yeah.
and I can't remember. Oh, Paul Rudd.
Yeah.
Where they just constantly talk about the fact that they're the
Beatles.
Beatles. Well, we the four Beatles. Like that scene is just so ridiculous. Where it's like, in your musical biopic, you have to reference other artists. Like, look, they're here, and they just double down on it and go, yes, we're the Beatles, and we know all about this because we're the Beatles.
Yeah.
And they're doing hilariously bad, impressions of them.
Yeah.
It's like obviously Jack Black looks exactly like Paul McCartney. That alone is worth watching.
Yeah, it's almost offensive at what they're doing, but it's
But
great.
it's intentional.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Zach, you're one.
No, I'm a tier 2. This got bumped down, but I do really like it. Tier 2.
I wanted to give it tier 1, but I got bumped down to 2.
Yes.
I wanted to give it tier 2, but I got bumped into tier 3.
Whoa.
Ouch.
It was in tier 2 and it got bumped down. Sorry.
All right, that's fine. I forgive you. But what about Weird, the Al Yankovic story?
An aspiring director and the marginally talented amateur cast of a... What the heck?
An exploration of every facet of Weird Al Yankovic's life, from his meteoric rise to fame with his parody songs to his torrid celebrity love affairs.
Were you reading
and
waiting for
famously
Guffman?
deprived style.
No, I copy and pasted the same synopsis on Weird.
Yeah, that's
like,
weird.
This seems confusing.
So this stars Daniel Radcliffe as Weird Al Yankovic.
Yeah.
And
This parodies The Doors, Bohemian Rhapsody, Rocket Man. It's
this
walk
is
hard.
once again every musical biopic ever.
Yeah.
But one of my favorite things about this Weird Al Yankovic story, it's a completely 100% true documentary. Nothing fabricated.
I like
whatsoever.
that they're playing that angle
Yeah.
a lot.
Yes, they are.
He's involved with Madonna in this one.
Yeah.
Yes, I like the absolutely bizarre turn that it takes with what it does with the Madonna character.
Yes.
But even the little subtleties of him like going to a polka party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it getting busted by the cops. Like, I swear I
His
wasn't.
parents being disappointed.
Like, oh, were you playing
The fact that he
accordion?
wrote the parodies before the real songs ever came out.
Yeah, that he wrote Eat It.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Michael Jackson ripped it off.
And he's like, they're gonna think that I parody this song.
So it's such a self-aware
But they couldn't
parody.
take one of the nicest guys in the entire music
Yeah.
industry and turn him into this like depraved lunatic.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious to me. This is just me. I'm a big Weird Al Yankovic fan. Surprise. But I loved all the little Easter eggs they'd throw in there, all these little references
Yeah.
to his songs and other things he's done and actual real life events. And I absolutely love this movie. This is one of my highest rated movies of the year I watched it. And I give it a tier 1. I love Weird Al
Because
Yankovic
the songs
story.
are great. The subject is great.
And Daniel Radcliffe plays this character of Weird Al Yankovic so well.
Yeah.
That it's just ridiculous.
Which he doesn't necessarily play Al very well.
No.
He just
No.
plays the character of this movie very well.
Yeah, they swing for the fences on this one, and I absolutely appreciate it.
I don't like Weird Al. I'm not a big fan. Not a huge fan of his songs.
Remember
okay.
how you guys were trying to win each other over? What just
okay. We're
happened?
fine. We're fine.
Okay, geez.
But I remember being absolutely won over by this movie. I can't give it a tier 1. I'm out of tier 1s, but this is an easy tier 2 for me.
This is what bumped out. Naked Gun just bumped out Weird Al.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, actually, it might have. It was either this one or the next one. But no, I think that this one's really fun. I think the only reason I can't definitively give it tier 1 is because I can't necessarily recommend it to anybody. I feel like it's a
They
very
have to be a fan.
specific brand of humor.
Yeah.
You have to know what's going on there or just be willing to give yourself over to it. I remember watching this for Joel. Like we specifically I think we did Bacon Bit on it.
Yeah.
And I wanted to watch it for Joel. I wanted to enjoy it because I didn't want to, crap on something that Joel liked. And I ended up having so much.
That night.
Yeah, that night. I ended
Tonight
up
you're
having-
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had so much fun with it. And it, we were weirdly positive about it. Weird. But I think it's held up. I still laugh.
And it's also funny to me that this was a Roku channel movie.
Yeah.
know.
That it was a free available. Like their box office is nothing because they released it for free on Roku channel, and Roku channel you can sign up for free and watch it.
Have they made anything else?
Go watch it there. I don't think so.
Yeah. To me, this is Walk Hard, the cartoon. Like it takes everything that Walk Hard did and it's like, let's make it a little more silly. I think it's a great movie, but sadly, once again, tier 2.
That's fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
Yeah. And our final movie is Young Frankenstein.
An American.
Hold on. I got this one because
Yeah,
it's
do you have the
real.
right one?
Oh, okay, go for it.
Yeah, an aspiring director and a marginally talented amateur cast. Wait, no, just kidding. An American grandson of the infamous scientist, struggling to prove that his grandfather was not as insane as people believe, is invited to Transylvania, where he discovers the process that reanimates a dead body.
Mel Brooks movie got Gene Wilder, Terry Garr, Cloris Leachman, Marty Feldman, Madeline Kahn again.
Yep.
Love her. Gene Hackman.
Yeah.
This came out in 1974, and this is an odd parody because it is a like in-universe homage.
Yeah.
Like they used a lot of the same props even as back in the 30s. But it's just a send-up of all the classic Universal Frankenstein movies, including, I believe it was, that's actually what I was looking up right here to see if it was Son of Frankenstein is the one where it's like Young Frankenstein without the comedy.
Yes.
It's bizarre.
I think as a visual parody, it's second to none.
There's a lot of
because it
great
just feels
gags.
like you're watching Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe it's the black and white helps, but also like the surrealist sets as well.
Yeah. There's parts in this that I mean, I've yelled out, another Ritz! For no good reason.
I think a really genuine performance from Gene Wilder.
Yeah.
I think he's actually really going for it.
Put the candle back. A lot of good moments in this.
But? Is there a but there?
Yeah, there's a but.
I
There's
feel
a
like
but
we
there.
were out of tier ones.
Yeah. So look, I think it's an objective tier 1, but I think subjectively it's a tier 2. I don't laugh a ton during it. I just go, I really appreciate you, movie.
I am right there with you. I don't actually find myself laughing, but I do appreciate this movie. And as we've probably said on Baconsale before, this movie is notable in the history of Baconsale because this movie was being watched when I met Kent Dunn.
Yeah, it's a true story. It's so cute.
Did I know that?
Yeah, we told the story a few times.
I don't listen to you guys most of the time, so this is a revelation to me.
We were at
So we became friends.
October movie watching sort of deal where we were all getting together and watching Young
And
Frankenstein.
this is when I crushed his dreams about radio and said, hey, I'm
like-
a pretty famous podcaster.
Oh, I remember when I read your blog in 2013, you jerk. Tell me more about this bacon thing. And then I drove away and listened to the We Ate Everything at Taco Bell episode. So adorable.
Save it for our 500th episode.
Fate.
But I'm going to give this a tier 2.
Yeah, same.
Same here.
Okay.
Yeah,
Like I wish I could give it higher, but the truth is, I'm impressed by this movie. I think
this the cleanest of Mel Brooks movies? This one, Blazing Saddles, maybe?
It wants to be.
Yeah.
well, there's a whole. There's
I'm
a
going
whole
to Parents
subplot.
Guide over here. Parents Guide
There's a whole
Hilton.
subplot there about the creature, and it ends on a note that you're kind of like, oh, okay,
yeah.
But generally pretty clean.
Okay.
But no, I think it's got the look, it's got the feel, it's got a lot of quotable lines.
It's got the look.
But the screwball style humor of Mel Brooks,
It just doesn't resonate with you.
Not every joke lands.
I have to be honest. I am surprised. I didn't know you're so anti.
I'm not anti.
same.
Seems like you are.
This is middle of the road.
Rude.
I think most
I
of Mel
think
Brooks.
you're a Mel Brooks hater.
No, I think most of them got tier 2.
I thought we were going to do a Mel Brooks show, and now we're not.
Never
We can. If we tear them against each other, there's going to be tier 1s.
But that's bacon science.
Yeah. So there you go. That's our ranking of parody movies, at least part 1. If we do another episode, like how we keep saying that.
Yeah.
It's almost like
Please
a threat.
like it.
Did you know that we decide what we do?
If we get at least 7 comments on
Listen,
Facebook.
I just want a little validation, okay?
Yeah. The 7 comments does not include my replies. But Zach, where did we match up here?
We had unanimous agreement on kind of a lot of this list.
All right.
Really?
13 in total. So let's start with the bottom. We don't really care for The Man Who Knew Too Little, Shrek the Third, Scary Movie, MacGruber, High School High, and Dracula, Dead and Loving It.
All fair. All fair.
All unanimous
Well,
tier 3s.
Dracula Dead and Loving It, maybe a little more, but
Maybe we're being harsh.
maybe.
No.
Maybe.
Okay.
tier 2.
Unanimous tier 2s. We have Young Frankenstein, Tropic Thunder, and the Brady Bunch movie.
Okay. Fair.
That feels good.
Yeah.
And then we all agreed on Airplane, Best in Show, Shaun of the Dead, and Shrek.
That's all for tier 1s?
Yeah.
Oof. I thought it'd be
Wow.
higher. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
We surprise ourselves.
But I was going to say, we are out there on social media and we want to hear from you. So let us know if you agree with our rankings. And once again, if you play along, you must do 8 tier 1s, 8 tier 2s, and 8 tier 3s.
You can't just say they're all tier 3.
Yep.
You can't say tier 4.
Yep. So, but we want to see your rankings. We want you to play along at home and tell your friends about it and get them to talk about it too. Hey, talk about this in the barbershop with your barber. They love it. They love this kind of thing.
I would.
Yeah.
All right, but before we go, we want to thank some patrons in some very special categories. So first is I'm the Listeners, and we have Taylor Sanderson, Some Guy. Scott Sprague wonders why Joel hummed Justin Timberlake's Cry Me a River when talking about the Munsters. You
Did I?
Yeah.
Maybe it sounded like it.
You already know, found out from Sawyer Western, St. Shannon and Sir James West, Ryan and Marley, Rocky and Steph, Lady Terry A. Finley, Juice, the Cooler King Swallow, Jennifer Kilkowski, Casey Cummings, Angela Plotz, and Adam and Rachel Crump. And from the Bacon Council, we have the other Brit, Johnny English, the one, the only Chris Anderson, Stephen, everyone's favorite Ross, Star Wars expert Kyler, our favorite couple, the Madsons, Nicole D. Kale, Her Royal Highness Jessica Terry, Glow Clan Daniel, Debbie Foster, and Beaker.
Thank you, patrons. You are the exclamation point to our airplane. But if you want to find me, you can find me at 76Joel on Twitter, or you can find me performing with Quickwits to perform at the studio at the Parker Theater. For more details, go to qwcomedy.com or go to the Quickwits Facebook page.
You can find me at Twitter at Kenny3DD. You can find me Instagram at Kent C. Dunn. And you can read my movie reviews at ShowtimeShowdown.com. Mm-hmm.
Struggle there? Little struggle there?
Yeah, I got it.
If you'd like to connect with me, you can do so on Twitter and Instagram at Zachary Western. But more importantly, make sure you're following Baconsale. Please like that Facebook page and then go to at Baconsale on Twitter and Instagram. After you've done that, go to tpublic.com/Baconsale. Get yourself some merch, and we're cooking up some new stuff.
Yeah, we are.
We haven't updated the store in a little while, so look there, tpublic.com/Baconsale. And then if you like what's going on here and you want to support us further, visit patreon.com/Baconsale. Support starts at just $3 a month, and we really appreciate it. That has allowed us to do video content. It's allowed us to do a lot of fun things with Baconsale. We really appreciate it. And you can get access to those Bacon bits. Those are kind of the fun thing where we don't have anything to talk about and then talk for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Kind of happens every week.
Kent got awkward with the dentist.
Baja Blast. It happens. Patreon.com/Baconsale.
So until next time, I'd like to tell you the story of an aspiring director in the marginally talented amateur cast of a hokey small... Oh, what? I've done it again.
Dang it.
I got distracted by the cat being adorable. Is the other one still in here?
Nope.
Okay.
She was eating my foot earlier.